Welcome to another episode of Exposed. Exposed is a youth talk show on Mohawk TV. The purpose of the show is to expose the issues that matter to Kahnawaka's youth and provoke thought and discussion on those issues. I'm one of your panelists, Hogan Gilbert, and
I'm Curran Jacobs.
And I'm Jessica Deere. So we have a lot in store for you this week on Exposed. Later in the show, we'll be interviewing Agunhise White on his anti-tobacco proposal law that he submitted. But first, I just wanted to mention that the Heavy MTL lineup was announced, and I'm so excited! As Kiss is headlining.
oh, do you know any other bands on there?
Not really.
As I Lay Dying, Children of Bodom,
Disturbed.
Billy Talent.
Billy Talent.
For some reason, Billy Talent's on there.
They've been receiving a lot of criticism because they're not metal enough, but whatever.
Well, you know, everybody likes to criticize.
Kiss and Billy Talent are going to bring bank. That's all they're going to do is bring a bunch of people. The rest is, I guess, just for exposure.
Yeah.
But
I think the best lineup, though, was the first one with Motley Crue.
I didn't go. Oh,
that was the best show I've ever been to. And we were really up in the front, and I was squished between like this really tall guy and this other guy, and basically I saw like a shoulder for the entire show.
That's metal shows for you, though. There's always lots of really big men around you, and it's
big hairy gorillas.
Oh. But I'm kind of sad that I missed out on last year's, this summer, with Megadeth and I forget who else headlined, but I just wanted to go see Megadeth and I missed it. Oh well.
Never been.
Me neither.
Anyways.
I've seen Billy Talent, though, and it's funny that you mentioned the, how they're being criticized a lot for the, not being in the right place to be playing for Heavy MTL. So, talking on the line of criticism, I think that was one of the things that criticism is something that I think is really interesting and something that we can, something that's important to youth, especially our generation. We're like, what, Generation Y?
Apparently.
I mean, we're a little confused as to, like,
why.
Like, what I've read is that Generation Y, it starts somewhere around the 70s and ends around the 2000s, and no one really knows the exact dates.
Well, I just remember one of my teachers at Dawson, it was like a gym teacher or something, she told us that we were Generation Y, right? And she was like, in your generation, you guys can't handle criticism. You guys are the worst with it. You don't like to be, like, told how you should improve things. And she just went off on us, and I was like, wow.
I believe it.
I can kind of understand because when we grow up in school, we're, like, being taught, like, especially, I think, to use an example, is when we do, like, group projects or, like, peer editing. Do you ever have to go in front of, like, the group and make a presentation, and then the class is, like, has to give you your constructive criticism, so we're used to that constructive criticism and not the, like, bad stuff of, like, saying you suck. And
well, I think there's a difference. For me, I find that there's a difference between constructively criticizing someone to help them to improve upon their skills and, or whatever it is that they're trying to do, or, judging someone.
Definitely.
There's a big difference between criticism and judgment.
But even with that, when you, like, constructive criticism, I guess all throughout high school and even in stage up in university where we had to do peer editing, it's always like, you don't want to be too mean, but I don't know if that's just me. Like,
I don't know, I was always excited to lay it into people because I can really like, if there's problems and I think that they could fix it, I want to help, right? But at the same time, I know that I hate it. Like, when it comes to getting my essays edited, I'm like, I don't want you to read it.
I'm still like that. Like,
I know, with university, like, I want me to write it, me to read it,
and
hand it into professor.
Only the teacher will see this.
And it's done after that. Just, like, it's like as if we don't have thick skin, to be able to, well, I mean, I guess, like, in terms of being criticized, like, how would you handle that? Like, how do you, either of you, if you're told you're doing something wrong or there's someone criticizes you, how do you deal with that?
Well, let Hogan go first.
Well, normally I just listen and I smile and I nod. And I mean, it's true. Like, they never say anything bad. Never. Like, and if they do say something bad, you're just kind of like, oh, you're going there. All right, just
Cool.
keep going then. Just keep going. But like people that do actually take it to like the negative criticism, you know, I mean, I'm like, good for them. But I think sometimes when you're trying to make it sound like you know how to do something, you're getting a little cocky. Like when you're saying something like the only experience I have is music, and when somebody asks me like, so how do you like the song? Like if somebody wrote a song and they're asking me how I liked it, and if I'm like, yeah, that was good, but you should change this right here, add something right there. I mean, they're not gonna take it seriously. They're just gonna be like, oh, he just thinks he knows everything. Like they're not gonna take it seriously, and it's just, I think that's basically the way Generation Y takes criticism. They just think that we know everything already, and that nobody can teach us anything because we got Google.
No.
Well, for me, like, to be in this industry, like, obviously you get criticism from our peers, from people who are watching.
People who read the Eastern Door, just when you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah, so I'm used to it to an extent. Like, from the average Joe or Jane, it's just like, okay, thank you for your feedback. The nasty stuff, it's just like whatever. But there's times when I guess it like reaches to a point where it's like, really, did you have to go there? Like, do you have to be like either, even when it's not like constructive criticism, but it's like just someone being immature.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when it gets to a personal level, I mean, it's not even criticism anymore. It's just
Yeah.
an attack, whatever.
And that's what, well, last week someone was criticizing our show about how I keep saying and like and
I think, but I mean,
we're a youth show and we're learning.
I know I'm my own worst critic, so when I watch this show, which I probably shouldn't do, but when I watch it after we've done it, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I keep touching my hair. Oh my god, I can't believe I stuttered there. Like, I pick out things, and I could just imagine that other people are picking it out, so I just, like, ignore it. I'm like, no.
I watched like the first 3 minutes, and I just can't. I
But
can't watch myself.
It's important for us to, like, obviously watch it, and then so we can learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do the same thing when I, like, see the episode, and it's like, I could have phrased that question so much better and got my point across.
I think that, you know, if people have, you know, constructive things that, you know, they think that can help us to do a better job, then by all means, send us the feedback. The email address is there for a reason, you know?
We do
like
it at the end of every show. So
it can really, because, you know, we want to be able, I think, to give the best, not performance, because we're not performing, but like, because I'm thinking in terms of, you know,
presentation.
like, the best presentation and being able to do the best job that we can.
But I think also people have to keep in mind that we are very young, and we only started this show in September.
Yeah.
And we're on every 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And we're not like necessarily, we're not professionals, and we don't have the same experience as someone who's been in this field for like 20 years or more, whatever.
I think it's like that with
I'm not a trained professional.
with any youth doing anything, right? Like, you need to keep in mind that they're young and they're learning, and everything's a learning experience when you're in our age group, like our bracket, you know. So you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna screw up, you're gonna find out there's things that you should and shouldn't do. And I mean, you know, as the youth, we need to suck it up and say, okay, someone told me that I'm doing this wrong, so I'm gonna try to change it, and I'm gonna take it and grow with it.
What bugs me, though, is like what I had mentioned, or the criticism for this show is that this person, I guess, ought to have known that, you know, he or she was once in this position of first starting out in this industry. And it's just like, why do you have to be immature about like certain things? And I don't know.
Maybe because he's cocky. Going back
Perhaps.
to what I said a while ago.
But at the same time, it's like, it's forces beyond our control, and you just have to, people are going to continue to say things, and people are going to continue to voice their opinions, and we just need to roll with it and just be cool.
True.
Because that's what we do.
And we need to thicken up our skin, or maybe not Hogan.
Not me, mine's thick, see? Tattoos.
No, I need to learn how to accept criticism better, because it's going to be a long life if we don't.
I think people take that saying, if you don't have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
Take that a bit too seriously sometimes. Sometimes you just got to be like, hey, that sucked.
Because sometimes,
Sometimes
something
it sucks.
genuinely does.
Oh.
Or, but you know, you can say it in a nicer way.
Yeah, you can be like, hey, that was good, but do this better.
I don't know, my professors
Please.
figure it out all the time.
Yeah.
They make me feel horrible, but they say it in such a way where I'm like, oh, it's okay, I forgive you.
Yeah. But I think that's why we're I guess hard at accepting criticism because we're used to that, like, criticism disguised as like good job.
Good job.
Like kind of like the hugs and kisses and
I love hugs and kisses. Anyways.
So speaking of all of this criticism, I mean, after the break, we're going to have Agun Jose, and he's probably gotten a lot of criticism for the topic we're going to talk about that. So we'll take a commercial break.